Hi, this video is going to show you how to use the Paintown animation editor to create a new character or player for the Paintown game. So the first thing we want to do is make sure we have the data available so that we can use the animation editor on it. So if you go into Data Players, you're going to want to make a new directory and put all the PNG files in there. So like I have Data Players Akuma, and in the Dragon Punch directory I have a bunch of PNGs, and basically in all these directories I have a bunch of PNGs. Okay, so now we're going to run the editor. And the first thing that comes up is the level editor, not the animation editor. To get to the animation editor, you go to Program and click Run Animation Editor. Now I can get rid of the level editor because I don't need it. In the animation editor, the first thing that comes up is the Quick Character Loader. From here you can see every file that the program tried to find that ends with the .txt extension. You can filter the files with a regular expression. You can type up here, so if I type Akuma, I just see Akuma stuff. So I'm going to load Akuma. And now all Akuma's data is loaded here. On the right side is general parameters for the character himself, like the name, the health, how high he can jump, how fast he can walk, some sounds. And on the left side are all the animation stuff. Okay, so if we look at like the uppercut over here, this is where the animations are going to show up. So if we click play, there he is. He shows up right there. And if I left click and move my mouse around, I can change where this axis shows up. So we're going to try to reproduce the uppercut in a new animation. So click stop for now. Come over to the right side, and new animations is actually at the bottom. It says add animation. So I click that, and it's going to make a new tab up here. It doesn't get highlighted yet, but it's just called new animation. So we click on that. We're going to call it uppercut 2. Alright, now I'm going to hide this stuff because I don't need it. Make this whole thing full screen so that it's a little easier to see everything. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is add all the frames, all the sprites to the animation so you can see them. So go down to the event queue down here, and we click on frame, and we click add, and it comes up with this random PNG, the Paintown logo, well, the old one. But it's not the one we wanted, and why didn't it find the Akuma's uppercut sprites? It's because it wasn't looking in the right directory. So you have to come up here to this base directory, change this to the real directory you want. So data players, Akuma, and then uppercut. Here it is. So now that's changed. So let's get rid of this frame. Click remove. Click add again, and now it added the first sprite. So if we come down here, we can actually see a list of all the sprites that we could possibly add. So right now I have to do this one by one. I'm going to add all the sprites. And they're in order because that's the way I set Akuma up. You might have different file names for your own character, but giving them numbers is convenient because then you can tell what order things are supposed to show up in. So 73, so I have to add all these one by one. I can move these around. 80 is below that. 71 is above. 73 is above. Okay, so we need 70, 82, 75. This a little more. Java takes a little while to redo the layout because it's slow on my computer. Also, record my desktop screws things up a little bit. Anyway, 78. 78 goes up. 79 goes up. 75 goes down. We need 81. need 76 and 77. They show up down here, so move them up. Okay, is that everything? No, we need 70 and 69. 70 and 69. We don't really need this no op thing, it's just the first thing that shows up, so we get rid of that. And let me move 70. 70 goes right up here. Okay, so now we have all the animations up, 72. Oh, I added the wrong one. Alright. Now they're all in order. We have all the animations, so we click play, because now we have our animation. And he's running way too fast, so why is that? It's because we don't have any delay nodes. So every time a frame gets activated, it will wait a certain amount of time before going to the next frame. And that's done, that amount of time is set by a delay event. So we add that as the very first thing. Move it up. It starts with a delay of 0, but that's not going to work because that's what we had. So we set a delay of, whatever, 6. And now he runs much slower. Let's make it a little faster. Delay 4. Okay, delay 3 looks reasonable. We can make him a little bigger with the scale and move him over here. And now we see that his feet are moving back and forth as he punches, and it looks sort of weird. So we want his feet to stay in the same place all the time, but they don't because the sprites are different sizes. So the game doesn't know how to align all the sprites together. So we have to do it manually. Okay, so look at frame, the first frame. We just assume that it's in the right position. You can move it around. But let's go to the next frame and align the next frame's feet with the first frame's. Actually, it already looks pretty good, so we'll leave that alone. But now if we look at between these two frames, we can see he moves to the right a little bit. So let's move him back to the left. So we use an offset event. So it shows up there. So there's that frame and that frame. You can actually edit the offset event while you're flipping between frames. So you're going to move. This offset will take effect for the next frame. So here's the first frame, here's the second frame. You can see it's already pretty close. He moves just a little bit. There you go. Now he doesn't move at all. And you really want to get this to be pixel perfect. So if a single pixel is off, it will look strange during the game. So make sure you look very carefully at the sprites. So let's go to the next frame. And again, we need a new offset between these two. So the first frame is there. Second frame needs to be moved to the right a little bit. Whatever, good enough. Next frame. So if you don't put a new offset in, the next frame, so all these frames down here will use this offset. So the offset doesn't go away as soon as the next frame is activated. So we're going to add a new one here. To the right a little bit. And see, when I click up and down, it doesn't actually modify what you see here immediately. That's just a bug. I'll fix that eventually. If you click away and click back, it'll show up. So now his feet are again in the right position. Alright, 0, 0 was the right one for that one. And if you ever want to edit any of these things again, you can either double click on it, See, now it came down here, and now I can change the frame, or I can, if I double click on it, it will change to the offset thing. Or we can right click on it. If you double click on it, it will center the current event to where you double clicked. But if you're on this frame and you just want to edit this offset, it's convenient to right click instead, and it will change that. See, if I right click here, now I'm changing this frame without having changed which event is currently highlighted. Okay, so I'm not going to do all the offsets, let's just assume they're right. But if we look at his first couple at least, and we can slow it down, notice that his feet don't move for the first couple of frames, so that's what the offset has gained us. So now the next thing we want to change is that this is an attack move. And attack moves have to be set as the attack type. Otherwise they won't actually collide with any of the players and won't do any damage. And secondly, you need to put in attack boxes so that the game knows where to how to do collisions between frames. So the attack box is going to appear somewhere around here. So basically, let's start here. There's going to be an attack box right where his hand is. So it's the blue one is the one that's currently being played, and if the black is just what I'm looking at. Okay, so we're going to set an attack box right before. And now we get all the 4 coordinates and this force thing and damage, and this nice button that lets us draw it manually. So I'm going to draw it. Just like that. So x1, y1 is this corner, upper left. x2, y2 is this corner, lower right. So if I move x1, it moves like that. Now the x2 is a little too big, I think, so I'll move it back a little bit. So now we have an attack box. The force stuff tells the game how much to move a player when you hit them. You can leave them alone for now. Damage is how much damage the guy's going to take, how much health is going to be taken away when you hit. So we'll just come up with a number 8, whatever. Okay. So now if we look at the next frame, and the attack box is still there, right? It hasn't moved at all. But we don't really want that. As soon as we get to here, we don't want the attack box anymore. The attack is done. So to get rid of it, we add a new attack box and set everything to 0, all these coordinates to 0. And now it will go away. Right? It shows up here, and now it's gone. So now if we play the whole animation, we see the attack box shows up, and it's gone. Alright, so that's about it for this tutorial. The rest of these events are useful for various things, and the way you learn about them is you go to the Paintown wiki. So if I go to the internet, here's the Paintown website. Click on wiki. Click on create character. And here's a description of basically the text file format for creating characters. You can ignore this if you're just using the animation editor, but it's useful to know. And all the events that you can use are listed here under animations. So the name, So like the delay, the offset, the frame, the range, the keys, all that stuff. And if anything's missing from here, I'll add it in the future. That's it. Thanks.